Yesterday, I finished Chainsaw Man for the first time ever, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So, first off, if you don't know what Chainsaw Man is this show where basically devils have started to make their way into the world and started to become menaces to society, and because of that, devil hunters have also become a thing. And the show revolves around the 16-year-old boy who befriends a devil and gets into a little bit of trouble. And after getting into some trouble, he uh, basically becomes fused with the devil that he is friends with, making him become what you would call the Chainsaw Devil. And that is where Chainsaw Man begins. And throughout the entire show, it's pretty good. I'll say the writing as a overall is pretty good because they basically write the main character to be someone who has never had anything, has never had a warm bed, not warm food, not warming and loving parents, people around him, anything at all. So it makes it where everything that he gains is basically significant progress with throughout his life. This includes if someone hugs him, if someone buys him dinner, if someone calls him a friend, whatever it shows significant progression. And the show is him obviously joining basically the force to fight the devils away. And they basically say, if you don't join us, we're getting rid of you, if you know what I mean. So obviously he joins them, and he essentially tries to spin the show, uh, essentially rizzing up the baddie of the show. Now, this is where it got a little bit weird for me because I watched it to a certain point before, and then I dropped it because I was kind of in the middle of an anime peak at this time, I guess you could say, where I was watching 40 different anime. So Chainsaw Man just wasn't in my rotation. So I watched like the first 6 episodes and then dropped it. And because of that, I didn't really get a lot spoiled, but I honestly thought that she was the main villain the entire time because of the cliffhanger I ended on. For like the last year and a half, I've literally just thought that like one of the main characters was one of the main villains, just just for the funsies of it. I guess I don't really know why. It's just like the aura that she gives off throughout the show, and then so rewatching it, she's not just 100%. She's not, at least not right now. I don't think she will become one either because I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense. Sorry, I'm really tired today. But yeah, throughout the show, it was pretty good. I think that they really played up like him having almost this emotionless detachment to everything insanely well, right? Because if you've never had like friends or anything like that outside of basically the devil that you were friends with, you would have a very low attachment to everything and everyone within a society because they're just there. They're just people. Like as long as you're getting your your needs met, they're just people. And I think he kind of shows that duality throughout the show a lot. And this kind of brings us to where he's introduced to fiends, and fiends are fallen devils. They're essentially a devil that has taken on a more human presence and lost some of its powers. They're still extremely strong, but for some reason, and they haven't fully explained it, they have lost a portion of their powers. Now, this is where my theories come in. So, my theory is the reason that the fiends aren't devils anymore is because fiends have started to lose their greed. Because in my head, when you tell me it's a devil, right? A devil is something that strives for power, that strives for greed. Basically, just takes and takes and takes whatever it wants and always prioritizes its needs over anything else. So that doesn't always mean a devil will 100% be like corrupt and bad in like a lore sense of this anime, but that also means that most of them will be bad because most of them want the power. They want to be able to do whatever they want. They want to basically be able to live however they want, and that's what makes a devil at the end of the day. Not only that, but what they're also born into. You know, they're born into being a devil, but then they personify it as well. So what I believe is fiends basically were born into being a devil, but then they don't personify that because almost all the fiends throughout the show that they've shown so far basically don't really do that. They'll run from fights, even if it means like giving up their home. They like start to feel human emotion. They don't like combat sometimes. They actually try to like be more intelligent, like blend into human society. So, and I think that's why they become fiends is because they basically, I guess, the opposite of what fall from grace would be. But yeah, insanely good. And I think one of the parts that like kind of gets me too is the guy that they put him with is this guy with like a samurai sword that uh, is basically using his lifespan to help him kill devils. And throughout the series, you're like, okay, this guy's pretty good, but you never really get to see how good he is until he basically goes through a major loss, because the loss, I guess, kicks his butt in gear, is what you could say, be because he goes and he makes a contract with a devil basically after. Sorry, I'm saying basically a lot. I'm so sorry, but he goes and he makes a contract with a devil after this major loss, and you could say, oh well, well he's getting the power for because this devil allows him to see like a glimpse into the future. Is what they tell us in the show. We have no clue what that means. We don't know if that's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 40 minutes, whatever it is. But it allows him to see a glimpse into the future, basically completely for free. But that doesn't change how good of a swordsman you are, right? Like, let's say you are insanely bad at a video game. Like, let's say I'm playing Dark Souls and I am terrible at the game. Like, I don't know when to swing my sword. I don't know how to roll. I don't know how to do anything, right? Having future sight isn't going to magically make me better. So when he gets the future sight, we actually get to see how good of a swordsman he really is compared to the previous episodes where we basically saw nothing. In all of the previous episodes leading up to this, we saw him get mopped time and time and time again. And it's like he's a cool character, don't get me wrong, but it's like this this guy is supposed to be the guy teaching our MC. Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then eventually what ends up happening, like I said, when he gets the time devil, he mops. He really does. He starts remembering stuff. He like obviously he can predict the future now, but with his prediction, he's able to actually use his sword skills. So yeah, I mean, he kind of goes crazy, and this all kind of leads up to that character in particular. At least in my opinion, the final scene of the show feels like that character is less of a robot because that's kind of how they play him up to be, is to be the guy who's like, "Oh yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say." Well, according to protocol, like that's kind of how they play him up throughout the entire show. So the last scene kind of gives this feeling where he's becoming more of a human, and Denji, which is the main character, is becoming more of a devil, essentially. And I think there's just something really nice behind it. I haven't watched the movie yet. My boy did tell me it is really good. That's why I actually rewatched the show. Uh, but I do recommend it. I think that overall the show's just kind of like funny and gimmicky, and there's just a lot of scenes that are just like, okay, well, I don't understand why this exists. The biggest thing is I have a good feeling that between seasons 1 and 2, there's probably going to be some sort of time skip. I'm not 100% sure because they kind of left it on a cliffhanger, but a time skip would make sense for like a little bit of a training arc, I guess. You know, like maybe a month or two time skip or a year or something like that while they're tracking down the main devil they're looking for, which is the gun devil. Uh, yeah, overall, really good show. Definitely recommend it. I hope that my plot explaining was able to make it sound entertaining to some people. Basically humans and devils fighting. Devils join humans' side. They keep fighting. Some funny jokes here and there. Some devils thinking they're human and making the cringiest jokes you've ever heard. But thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Peace.